Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's section. And today is one of the series in the study series that we have. As you can see, the study series started around 12th of December 2022. It's been an amazing section so far where people learn. As we are learning, AWS giving you some bonuses. You are winning stuff like credit to practice on AWS, and also standing the chance to win the AWS exam voucher as well. So today's section will be the most awesome, and also I would like to encourage you to go now and invite your friends that are waiting there to learn. Maybe they might have forgotten. So I would like you to go and invite them now. And as you are doing that, let me introduce myself. My name is Imoh Etuk. I'm one of the leaders in the community, in the user group, and I will be taking on a very great speaker who will be presenting to you today in the presence of Promise Nwachukwu, and he will be speaking on the topic that says hybrid and out of region protection on AWS. I'm going to also learn a lot about on this topic. The topic is going to expose you on AWS global infrastructure and how to secure them and build a hybrid infrastructure on AWS. So let's go. Uh, Promise, welcome on board. How are you doing
Hello,
today?
Imoh. I'm doing great. How are you
Okay,
doing?
I'm doing great too. So,
Oh, wow. What an interesting
okay.
session for today.
Yeah, we are hoping to see and we are hoping to hear that. I can see that the participants are, in fact, are most eager and are hungry to listen to you and learn more, and at the same time win the prizes that we have for this section.
Interesting.
Okay,
I'm happy.
uh,
I'm happy hearing that.
yeah,
I'm happy
it's a good
hearing that.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
without wasting much of our time, I will let you take the floor and continue. See you.
Oh, all right. All right. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I mean, today seems to be a very awesome day, and I kind of actually took some time to, prepare for this because I know I was expecting some special guests today in the house. And I mean, there's also lots of prizes to be won today. So, um, if I were you, I would be attentive and, what's the word? Try to see how much of the training you can be able to gain. Like I said, feel free to ask questions if you don't understand anything I'm saying, and sure, I'll be willing to explain as much as I can. So, welcome everyone to today's session, which is hybrid and out of region protection on AWS. All right, so I will proceed now to share a screen. Just a minute while I figure that out. Just a minute. Um. Okay. Imo, please, can you help me? What's the word? Can you help me take
Okay.
my screen up? Yeah,
Yeah,
help me
your
take my
screen
screen
is
up.
up. It's up
Oh,
already. Can you see
okay.
that on your end? Okay. Let
I
me
just need.
see the view that will be best for us. Is this
Okay.
view okay? Okay.
Yeah. I believe that should be okay. Okay. All right. So, like I said, today I'll be looking at hybrid and out of region protection on AWS. My name is Promise Uche Nwachukwu. Um, for some of you who may not know who I am, I'm a senior consultant on cloud ops and DevOps with over a decade of experience. I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge on cloud technologies, and of course, I'm willing to connect on a community. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, you can reach out to me on Twitter, and I'm ready to answer as much questions as possible or as I can. All right. So what do we have on the agenda for today? Um, I don't intend to, flood your memory with, very big, what's the word? Very big languages about AWS. But I intend that by the end of this session today, you should be able to understand a few concepts on AWS. And one of those concepts are, or some of those concepts are just site to site VPN connections and client VPN connections. So we would basically be actually talking about these two and just explaining about these two. Remember, we are focusing on the topic itself, hybrid and out of region protection. Now, when you're talking about hybrid and out of region protection, these are key concepts that apply to this situation. I mean, you can't be talking about protection without considering something like a VPN connection in your environment, right? And what best way to achieve that without making use of AWS services? So, in this session for today, we are basically going to be taking a closer look into what site to site VPN connection is and what client VPN connections are. And I'm hoping that by the end of the day, at least you should be able to gain one or two insights about this. All right, so the first topic here is site to site VPN connections. And here you can see here it says by default, instances that launch into an Amazon VPC can't communicate with your own remote network. Why do you would you think this is so? I mean, just imagine that any device you plug into your network is able to see all your files, is able to see who or what kind of systems are connected to your network. I mean, don't you think that it will be so easy to, crack open your network and see whatever is happening within your network? And of course, as an organization, as an entity, that's not what you would want. So AWS has put all of this into consideration and is telling you that, look, for you to, whenever you launch into that, your VPC, of course, we don't want an instant access. You have to be able to do some configurations to be able to allow that VPC to connect into your remote network. And you can see here it says you can enable access to your remote network from your VPC itself by creating an what? AWS site-to-site VPN connection and configuring routing to pass traffic through the connection. So two things, or let me say three things here are needed. Firstly, you're launching an instance into your VPC, right? You want that instance to be able to communicate, but of course, security-wise, AWS um doesn't automatically allow that, right? So you need to come in to enable that connection. Second thing you're looking at, site-to-site connection. You know, some of the times I remember initially when I started learning about some of these things, and you know, I get confused with the concept about site to site. Are you trying to tell me that a whole my initial thought was, imagine maybe you're trying to tell me that a whole building, right? Maybe there's like a cable connection happening between a whole building and some other building somewhere. And in my mind, I was wondering, are they going to do like some cable connection to do all that, or how is it going to happen? But yes, actually, it's basically like connecting the devices in a building to some other devices in another building, which is maybe some distance away from where you are. That's actually what it is. But then again, for you to be able to power this kind of connection, you need what is called something like an edge device. Edge devices that stay at the edges of the building, right? And then so also another edge device at the other building. Then by enabling this connection, right, you are able to power some form of traffic that can be able to travel from this building that building. Now, in the initial phase of my career, right, one of the things I enjoyed most was networking. I enjoyed this a lot because for me, I mean, networking was like the gateway. You could virtually not be able to do anything in your organization if your internet wasn't working fine, or if you couldn't connect successfully to the router or to your network. So, one of the things you really, really want to be able to know in your AWS organization, your AWS environment is how do you power connections like this? So, site to site VPN connections are basically connections that route traffic from um, some location to another location. At the same time, you can be able to power traffics that are just internal to your organization. You really don't need to go to the internet if you don't want to. So these are some of the privileges that site to site VPN connections provide us with. And you can see here, like it says, you need to be able to configure routing to pass the traffic through the connection. So, I mean, your connection doesn't just happen that way. You need to probably go on a router you've configured in one of the buildings and say, okay, I want probably every traffic coming from 172.16.0.32, right, to be able to connect with some other private IP address in the other building. And then probably you put down some rules and say, okay, I want this kind of connection to happen. I want this connection to happen. You probably want to put down some ACLs or some access list controls, just to be able to ensure that you are having a secure connection from that building to the other building. So this is what the site-to-site VPN connection is all about. Now, I'll be proceeding to talk about some concepts about site-to-site VPN connections. Yeah. So you're wondering, you're wondering when you talk about site-to-site VPN connections, what are some key concepts that you have to know about? Some of these key concepts, just a run through them, are what I call, um, well, I call them key concepts because you can't really talk about your site to site VPN connections without mentioning these concepts. So, one of the things you're going to see is your VPN connection. Your VPN connection. I mean, this is basically like a secure connection between your on-premises equipment to your VPCs. So you still have connections like this happening. Yeah, you want to be able to ensure that your on-premises devices like your laptop, your your desktops are able to connect to your VPCs in AWS. So there's no way you can talk about site-to-site VPN connection without talking about a VPN connection. You would also need to talk about a VPN tunnel. What is a VPN tunnel? In my mind, or I remember the first time I heard about this, whenever a VPN tunnel was mentioned, I remember thinking about, I don't know if you're based in the country where I am. I'm based in Nigeria, and I just think about these big tunnels that the water corporation used to pass water through. That's what I have at the back of my mind, and in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe AWS comes down to wherever location you're in, maybe for instance Nigeria, and then AWS lays a very big pipe like that from here to maybe US, and those pipes are connected everywhere. Maybe that's how a VPN tunnel works. But physically, it might not be that way, but the concept is that way. A tunnel in the sense that, of course, in a tunnel, you are you are trying to separate whatever is happening within that tunnel, right, from the outside world. So the same way that big tunnel you have at the back of your mind looks, and the same way that that tunnel gives that covering, right, is the same way this tunnel actually works. Because what you're actually trying to do is that, I mean, let me say, here in Nigeria, the government is trying to probably pass probably clean water or crude oil from one state to another state. But this time around, what you're trying to do is to separate the traffic flowing between your destinations and every other traffic flowing across every other place. So you're basically creating like some form of closed pipe that allows only the traffic you want to pass through. This time around, the control is in your hands. You are the one actually creating this control, right? And you are the one deciding what traffic flows through this tunnel. So, yes, it might not physically be like the big pipes I thought about, but actually, the concept is the same. All right. Another concept that is very key when you're talking about um site to site VPN is the customer gateway. And then you're wondering, what is a customer gateway? Is it like something? Let me try to explain it in the layman terms. Is it like maybe a gate that I need to go and or maybe a gate that my customers pass to come and meet me? Is it like that? So whenever I hear of these terms, for me, what I actually first of all think about is the word itself. What does it mean? I try to understand it in that format before I then apply it to, the IT industry. So in this case, a customer gateway is just an AWS resource that provides information to AWS about your customer gateway device, right? So remember, I told you something about when you're connecting two buildings together in, let me say, remote locations, you probably need things like, if this is done physically, you need things like edge devices. These devices are routers that interface with the internet coming from, or that interface with the traffic coming from the internet into your network space. So these devices sometimes are built in such a way that they can handle robust amount of traffic, because I mean they are interfacing with the internet themselves, and then they have to also interface with your internal devices within your network. Right. So just as those devices get to interface or be like a middleman between the internet and the devices within your organization, right? AWS needs, or there's something that needs to provide that information of that particular device doing that job. And that's why we call it the customer gateway. Why? Because it is actually directly linking to the customer. Why is this named a customer gateway and not some other gateway? To be frank, or in truth, there are actually other gateways. This is called a customer gateway because it interfaces with customers. In some other gateways, there is not like the interface with the customer. It can be an interface with maybe some other entity or some other provider, or some, or some, what's the word, some internet providing facility. So in those scenarios, they are not directly connecting to the customers. But in this scenario, this is actually directing, connecting, is directly connecting to the customers. So that's why we call them the customer gateway, because they provide the gateway between the traffic coming from the internet to what? The customers. Now, there is also the customer gateway device. This time around is talking about the physical device itself. So the customer gateway is like a resource. Look at it as a virtual resource, something virtual that talks to both the internet and the customers. While the device itself, the gateway device, is that physical device that provides the service. Right? You can see here it says it's a physical device or a software application on your side of the what? Side to side VPN connection. I mean, this is this is explanatory, right? But for some of you wondering what the difference is, it's just basically one is virtual, one is physical, right? So a resource in AWS is what's the word I would, it they do virtually, for a gateway, right? Look at it as that pipe that connects the internet to the customers. For the gateway device itself, it is actually the physical device that empowers that pipe, that empowers, in this case, the resource to provide that connection between the internet and the customers. Now, we talk about the last one on this concept for site to site VPN, which is what? The target gateway. So, for a target gateway, right, you are basically, or I would just call it like a general term for the VPN endpoint on the Amazon side of the site to site VPN connection. So, just the same way we have a gateway at the customer's end, you also need the gateway at AWS end, which empowers this traffic connection or this traffic flow. So, like it says here, it is a general term for the VPN endpoint on the Amazon side of your site to site VPN connection. All right, we'll be proceeding now to the second concept for today, which is the client VPN connection. The client VPN connection. So, one of the things you want to take into consideration is basically understanding what the site to site VPN connection is and what the client VPN connection is. Remember, like I say, is you need to be able to pay attention so that, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're actually making or getting, what's the word, when you are actually, attempting the quiz, you should be able to, get one or two in those questions. In fact, I'm looking forward to the quiz. I know it's going to be very, very interesting. For those of you who are after the AWS vouchers, please pay attention to this. All right. Okay. So the client VPN connection, it says AWS client VPN is a fully managed remote access VPN solution. So take note of some very key words here. Fully managed. Whenever something is mentioned to you as fully managed, this means that you really don't have any work to do on your own side in terms of managing the infrastructure that provides that service. It is fully managed by AWS. So you see, it's a client VPN, is a fully managed remote access VPN solution used by your, or let me say, remote workers or a remote workforce to securely access resources both within AWS and on-prem network. So You see the difference. Site to site provides some form of protection or some form of privacy when traffic is flowing from your organization here or your organization building to another organization building or some other building in some remote location. This client VPN connection provides like a way which you can securely access resources. So this is talking about resources. The other one, side to side, is talking about providing some form of means where you can pass traffic from a whole location to another whole location. Now, the beautiful thing about the client VPN connection is that one, it is fully elastic. It automatically scales up or down based on demand. Now, whenever we mention scaling up and scaling down, you have to know that the the infrastructure behind this is something like I don't know if you know what a skill set is, like a skill set function. So, so basically, what this is saying is this. Okay, let me provide this example. Take, for instance, on Black Friday, right? And most of you who know the store called the Jumia store, which is maybe in Nigeria anyway, or some other stores who are having some Black Friday sales, right? If you would notice, the call for or the amount of surge that happens on that day is usually way more compared to every other day. Why? Because people want to be able to get things at a cheaper rate. Now, imagine the infrastructure that it would take to ensure that those sites are powered up even during the surge, and to ensure that even when a lot of people are trying to access that web page, the web page doesn't crash, or the infra behind those resources behind that web page doesn't crash. What happens here is that the way this is able to sustain when experiencing such huge surge is that the infra behind the service increases. It increases. It increases based on some certain parameters that may have been set initially before now. So take, for instance, you make mention of the fact that okay, um I would like this instance to scale up when I have a surge that causes my CPU to get above 75% and the memory to say get about or around 80%. What this happens is that at every time this condition is met, an extra instance will be spawned up. When this extra instance is spawned up, of course, that value that caused the increase in the instances will drop. Now, that value will probably keep dropping, right, until it reaches a particular value which you must have initially configured and say, okay, look, if this CPU and this memory drops below this value, I want you to reduce the amount of instance. So you can see the mechanism behind the scaling up and the scaling down. So for the scaling up, you have a mechanism that says, okay, once you get to 80% and the surge is still there, I want you to increase the infra. Now the infra increases, right? And then if by any chance the CPU still stays at that value, the infra keeps increasing. Of course, you would set a maximum limit to which the infra can increase to. It's not infinity. You have to set like a maximum value for which it will get to. And it will continue If that condition still stands, it will continue to increase the infra until it gets to this limit. Now, once it gets to this limit, nothing else can be done. At that time, if the surge still persists, you might have to find other ways to reduce that surge. So also, if for any means it increases to the maximum and then the CPU and the memory values keep dropping, of course, it starts scaling down automatically by itself. This is something that is done based on some initial configurations in your environment. All right, moving ahead. What are the benefits, right, of a what would I call it? What are the benefits? What benefits do you get to gain by making use of your client VPN connection? One of the beautiful things about this is that you get to have advanced authentication. You would know about so many companies that, of course, they would like to provide some form of two-factor authentication. You know, you get to be able to provide that secure environment for your customers and for your clients. Another thing you get to do is that it's this time around is elastic, meaning that there's no there's the limit, right, for this connection can be stretched based on your configuration, based on what you want to allow. It's not so strict that you say, oh, okay, these are the number of connections and it must not go past. No, you can actually set some configurations that of course these configurations have already been embedded into the service. Remember, we said that this is a fully managed solution. So it provides you that opportunity to provide some elastic limits around your connections. Beautiful thing, remote access. You don't actually need to go to some particular office that probably is only that office that provides some connection. No, you can actually connect from anywhere in the world. And again, like I said, it is what fully managed. Fully managed in the sense that you don't need to stress yourself. AWS does the work for you. I mean, isn't that amazing? For me, I would say that is amazing because if you need to think about the infrastructure that it will take you to provide a solution, the amount of or the cost that will be involved in buying these servers, the maintaining these servers, the fuel you will need to ensure these servers keep running. I mean, that's a whole lot of burden being taken away from you. So when you hear the word fully managed, man, I think you really need to appreciate that because AWS is providing you with something that you don't need to stress yourself with. Just go ahead and enjoy the solution. Okay, now AWS client use cases. These are just basic scenarios that enable or you hear about when talking about client VPN connection, right? So in this case, you're basically looking at four scenarios which are, I would call them just basic, simple scenarios here. One, quickly scale remote access, meaning that these are scenarios where you are able to quickly increase the amount of connections to resources you may have within your on premise or in AWS. You are able to quickly scale this. Another thing you are able to quickly do, right, is access applications during migration. So the beautiful thing about this is that if you are very familiar with the on-premise configurations, you would know that most of the times back in the days when we don't have solutions like this, whenever a migration process is going on, most of the services are kind of down. Why? Because a migration is going on. So this automatically stops the flow of processes. for some time based on when the migration will be over. But the beautiful thing about this is that even during my migrations, you can access your applications. So you don't need to be worried about when you're about to do some migration and all that. Another interesting thing is that you can integrate with your authentication and MDM system. So, yes, this is AWS. This doesn't mean you can't integrate with Microsoft services or your Microsoft AAD. AWS is that robust. It is actually, because it provides you the opportunity to integrate with your other form of authentications, probably Okta, probably some other things you have going on. So you can integrate this with your Okta, your Microsoft AAD, mention other authentication services you have running out there, right? And the last one in this case is securely connecting IoT devices. Some of you know what we call the smart homes that have to deal with lots of these devices that need to connect remotely to 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 the internet, right? With this particular service, you can provide a medium where those smart devices can actually connect securely to the internet with no issues. We are This is a premium fully service that is just packaged to you. So you can actually in your smart homes connect securely to your endpoints wherever you need to connect to by making use of this AWS client VPN connection. So I mean, this is just so when I sat down to look at some of these solutions being built by AWS, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Now, if you now begin to think of the technology behind all of this, you will be seriously wowed. You would be seriously wowed. So, at this point, I'll be rounding up this lecture, right? So that we can go on to the quiz session. And I hope that you were able to get and understand some of the few things I explained between the site to site VPN connection and then the client VPN connection. So, as a summary, you can see here it says site to site VPN connections and client VPN connections provide protection with the way your devices communicate with the cloud. Um, I would just say thank you. My name again is Promise Uche Nwachukwu. You can reach out to me via email on promiseucheunwachukwu@gmail.com, or sure, please visit my Medium page. Um, we are about to go into the quiz session. It promises to be interesting, right? And for those of you who took some time to probably jot while I was explaining, I'm sure you would find that of good benefit. So here we go. All right. Let me make
Promise,
that
that was a
happen.
great section.
Thank you very much, Imoh. Thank you very much, Imoh. All right. So, who is up and ready for this quiz? Can I get some shout out from the notifications? Let me see. I have 19 people connected. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Interesting. Imo, do you want to set this up or you want me to go ahead and set this up? Okay, let me go ahead to do that. Just a minute. So I will be providing you with the link to join in soon, or let me see the just a minute. Okay. Okay, I can see quite a number of people are ready for this. Just give me a minute while I set this up for you. Okay, we are about to start this game. Wow, are you excited? All right, I'm starting this up right now. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Get ready to join in. Okay, so let me share my screen so you see the game pin while I wait for everyone to connect. Yes, let me wait for everyone to connect. All right, so this is the game pin. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Imoh, are you able to see my screen? Imoh, Imoh, are you there? Okay. Who is able to see my screen? Are you able to see the game pin?
Yeah, we can see your
Once.
screen.
All right. Okay. I can see I have HM gas connected. So please go ahead. Keep connecting, keep connecting, keep connecting. Keep connecting. I mean, I thought I had a quite number of people today, so I'm wondering why we are just having five. What's happening? What's happening? Or are you not ready to collect the vouchers? So I'm actually still waiting for you all to connect. I'm actually still waiting for you all to connect. I see NG, Collins, Gandalf, Gabi, Prabhu. Ah, Temitope Ojo. Okay. Zost, Onyi, HM Gaz. Interesting. 9 people are connected right now. Are any more people connecting? Any more people connecting before we start up the game? Okay, looks like we just have 9 people who are ready to benefit from this AWS voucher for today. Okay, so I would be starting the quiz right about now. Oh, I have one more person joining. Happy OG. Okay, 11. Is any other person joining? You just go to kahoot.it and then you put in the game pin, which is 1491954, and then you put in your name, and then you should be able to join. So I have 10 people. Looks like one person left. All right. So, in order not to waste so much time, I will be starting the session in a bit. I will be starting the session in a bit. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You can enable access to your remote network from your one subnet, two network, three VPC, four IP settings. You can enable access to your remote network from, wow, only 2 people answered. Wow. Oh, 3 people. And then looks like they got it wrong. Well, okay. So the answer is actually your VPC. And I was actually mentioning this on the first slide. For those of you who paid attention, you would notice I made mention of this on the first slide. Okay, let's see who wins the second question. Oh, Onyi seems to be leading with 0 points. Interesting. All right, let's go. Quiz 2. Now let's see. Concept of site-to-site VPN connection are, I took my time to really break this down. I took my time to break this down. So I am expecting you guys to give me answers. I'm expecting you guys to give me answers. Wow. Wow. What's happening, guys? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Okay, okay, okay. I see two people picked up VPN connection, and one person picked up network, one person picked up VPC, and one person picked up customer gateway. In fact, I could remember when I was talking about VPN connection and customer gateway. I remember how I explained a lot about the concept of customer gateway and customer gateway device, and also when I was talking about VPN connection itself. But well, let's look at the chart and let's see who is leading. Wow, we have HM Gas leading with 50 points. Well, I see Onyi is, and then we have a Zost or a Ghost, right? But let's see who, if any of you guys are able to beat HM Gas. All right. The third question for the day. Which of the following are benefits of client VPN connection? I spent some time talking about this. So I would really love that we get this one. Wow. Okay. I see what's happening here. I'm happy that I have people, actually answering this. I see we had 4 people choose the advanced authentication. We had 3 people choose the fully managed. If you have failed fully managed, I would have been so bitter with you, man, because I kept on explaining this over and over again. And then we have the elastic, where I made mention of the fact that the number of connections are not restricted, but you can always increase that. So that's the beauty of having such. Okay, let's go to the scoreboard and see who is leading. Wow, Gandalf. Nice. I see Gandalf is topping the chart now, followed by HM Gaz, L and Onyi and Ghost. Well, let's see what happens. This last question will actually distinguish who and who will be the winner. So let's go. I'm sure you all are ready to win. Let's go. Which is an AWS client VPN use case? Wow, I know I made mention of this. I really did made mention of this. Wow, let's see who wins this. I actually explained this a lot. Wow. So I can see that people were actually making, or people were actually paying attention. You know why I said people were paying attention? Because I see that nobody picked affordable cost and fully managed. So that means they were actually paying attention. 4 people picked securely connecting to IoT devices, and 2 people picked access application during migration. So, this was like one of the trick ones to see who and who was going to get what and all of that. But I'm glad that you guys were really, really paying attention. So let's see the final breaking. The final breaking. Let's see who gets to win this AWS voucher for today. All right, the podium is set. Wow, Gandalf is leading. Wow, followed by HM Guz and our finalists. Wow, L, congratulations. Congratulations, L. Congratulations, L. I mean, you're doing awesome, boy. You're doing awesome. Also, congratulations to HM Guz and congratulations to Gandalf. I mean, wow. I'm really, really impressed, guys. I'm really, really impressed. You guys did awesome. You guys did awesome. I'm really, really impressed, guys. I mean, keep up this good work that you are doing. Wow. So, okay. So I see some people were not able to participate, bumped out. Wow, 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 wow. What's happening? What's happening? Unfortunately, I don't have access. Happiness Young. Happiness Young, I'm sorry if you don't have access. I don't know what happened. But I mean, congratulations to our winners. I mean, to our winners, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. You guys did awesome. So, I mean, we've come to the end of this session for today. And I'm really, really happy that I was able to share something regarding this. I'm really, really happy about that, right? And I hope that you were able to gain one or two things from this session, right? And I want you to stay tuned. You know why I want you to stay tuned? Because tomorrow, same time, we also have a session coming up. And I'm telling you, you're going to be speaking or you're going to be listening to one of the experts we have in the house. I don't know if any of you have heard about Sir David. I mean, he's an awesome guy. He's going to be around tomorrow. So please stay tuned, connect same time, and I'm sure you're going to gain a lot. Of course, we're going to be having our quiz at the session at the end of today. Sorry, at the end of tomorrow as well. So please stay tuned and get that voucher. All right. So if you haven't been following our channels, please go on LinkedIn, follow our page, follow our meetup page, ensure you register for our programs so that you are updated whenever we have things like this coming up. And I look forward to seeing you all, guys. Cheers. See you all tomorrow, 6 p.m. West African time. Bye bye.